Hey everyone, welcome back to the Inner Forecast, your space to gain insight and foresight for the month ahead. So you know where to focus your time and energy. I'm Jen Rose, your host, a certified astrologer, Reiki practitioner, holistic nutritionist, and quantum healing hypnosis guide. Each month has its own energy, and my goal is to support your intuition and life planning through astrology, while also bringing in a special guest to share their magic and wisdom to help you navigate the month ahead. Hey, hey, oh my goodness, the Christmas tree is behind you.
It's Capricorn season, baby. I'm all tradition.
Oh my goodness, get it. I am into this. This is like so lovely.
You know what's funny is all year I wondered when you were going to bring me on.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest with you, the one part of my chart that I never was like, oh yeah, about was my Capricorn moon. And I feel like this Capricorn season, what I've understood is I give birth in Capricorn season. My son is a Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon, and
Yeah.
he's my first child. And
Yeah.
so I really think this past 20 years, Pluto and Capricorn, I've learned like who I am as a mother, but in the way I learned my moon through those 20 years without knowing it.
Right.
And I'm learning this as I connect the dots, right? Like some of these lessons that we're going to talk about today, I'm really excited about because like I don't just look at them as this moon journey. I actually look at them like each cycle. I actually look at these past 9 years, like, and then bigger than that, what was happening Pluto and Capricorn, and what is it coming Pluto and like. So I feel like there's like this balance going on.
Just to give everyone sort of a taste of what this episode's about, what we're going to be talking about particularly, this is like the one where we're going to be closing out the year. Capricorn season is that energy of like, reflection, responsibility, and building a future that you can actually stand on. But I would say Capricorn season also asks us to like pause and to get honest. Like, what have we learned this year, and what are we ready to commit to or step into 2026? And as Liz said, like, it's a beautiful metaphor. With, I know we're recording early in Sag, but like the arrow needs to go back before it goes forward, which I know you have said. So this is kind of the purpose of this episode, is to really reflect, because this was a significant year, not only for myself, and I'm sure what Liz will share, but for a lot of you guys. And we're going to get into that. Um, and this will be the final episode of this year, which is exciting. So like I wanted to do something special,
Oh, come
with
on.
right with my homegirl over here.
Well, good
Uh,
thing I did my hair. No, just kidding.
so yeah, we're gonna talk about big themes. We already started to talk about one of them, but I'll give you guys like more of a idea of like dates that you can look at. So we're going to talk about some major transits that happened this year, 2025, and then the ones to sort of like the theme that we're walking into 2026. Obviously, I am joined with Liz over here, who many of you know as Witchy Ways. She hosts epic moon circles in Peterborough that, like, I would say blend magic, tradition, integrity of the land, and bring together like all walks of life. And she also is an advocate for the underdog. And by day, she joins forces with her mom, known as Big Mama, and they make this like holistic healing accessible for their community. That is like their mission on this earth, which I've had the privilege of doing your mom's chart as well. She's a badass. But Liz, welcome. I'm excited to have you. And could you start? You already started, but like share your big three, which is a tradition on this platform.
I know. And you know what's funny is I've learned my big three through you. And so I knew you were going to ask me this question, and I kind of asked myself, like, where do I begin? Like, do I just say I'm a Capricorn sun, I'm a Libra sun, Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising? And like when I first met you, I only ever thought of Libra.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scope of my understanding of like who I am in the cosmos on the day I was born, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so now that I understand my chart better through you, I always thought my Libra sun was just like very justice, like, and always like caring about other people. And like through my life, the imbalance, since Jen taught me, I learned balance through imbalance. I always give more in relationships than I often receive. And that has like shown me more of a balance in my giving more to myself than other people. So I feel like my Libra sun has really helped me cultivate community through like my ability to hold relationships. But I think I'm at a point today where I'm giving more to myself. My Capricorn moon was difficult for me because I never really understood what that meant. Like, Capricorn just seems kind of like not a grumpy old man, but like very like direct and kind of I didn't realize it was so grounded and like kind of wise, like the mountain goat, right?
Yeah, it's
It's
the
a gem.
maturity. It's the mature sign, right? Like the
Yeah.
maturity. And you have that, your moon, like that emotional maturity in the way that you want to learn and express because it's in her third house. So like Liz takes like information and like turns it um on its head, and I feel like uses it in spaces to help us connect to something deeper. So like this, it's also like probably the seriousness within our chart, but not always, like there is like there's we don't want to be pigeonholed in these situations, but Capricorn is that maturity, I would say, and that ambition. And I would say the way that what drives you a lot is your um, insatiableness to collect information and share it with such heart.
Well, and I feel like I've never realized how devotional Capricorn is. That
Beautiful.
I would say that's really like I was writing here before I was waiting for you to let me in the room.
Yeah.
Um I think that my like I walk forward faithfully, and I've gotten to witness my mom, like that's been something I've really witnessed from her.
Yeah.
So, astrology on TikTok always says like, oh, difficult relationships with your parents if you have a Capricorn moon. And it's like I had the most beautiful relationship with my mother, and my son who's a Capricorn moon, I also have a beautiful relationship with. So I feel like
It
there's
depends on how your moon's connected to other planets, I would say. It's not
okay.
necessarily like just the sign. And I would say that your mom's a boss, right? Like
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
doing some work that's keeping her like laying down a legacy. And I would say that that's true about you. You're laying down your own legacy, and your son has that moon as well.
Well, and
Interpret your chart.
I would 100% agree with that because I actually think through the lessons she's taught me, I've gotten to find that real balance in like caring for me and caring for the world, whereas she cares for the world. Like that's actually who she's here to be,
Yeah.
and she doesn't need to change that. But through me enjoying myself in this Pisces North Node,
Yeah.
I feel like I found balance between giving to the world and giving to myself, which is Aquarius is coming, right? And
Yeah.
and then the rising Scorpio was really, I think as I've gotten to know it, because I think that I can be intimidating sometimes. And it's so funny because I'm so heart led and I could sit on the corner and learn your whole life in a second. But I feel like Scorpio can be kind of intimidating, and I can kind of see that that's my rising sign because I think I'm very deep. So like I can't just sit
Yeah.
with you and have like a
Yeah.
conversation. Oh, it's a nice day out there today, eh? Like that would never be that wouldn't satisfy me, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I feel like it's very deep, intuitive, and like transformation. So, like, I had a stillborn in 2010, and I didn't realize the lesson I learned about the cycle of life and death through that experience.
Hmm.
And one of the dates we're going to talk about, March 29th, like that, I have in my notes, that was the day that Father Leo died. And I have the Ecclesiastes piece, and I don't go to church, although I was raised Catholic. I have the Ecclesiastes piece that says like there's a time to plant, a time to pluck, a time to be born, a time to die. Like there's a time for everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think what's going to be interesting about this episode, Jen, is I wrote a little note at the top about it, and I'll let you segue into whatever your next question is that since meeting you, I've really learned to trust the timing of my
Hmm.
life. That is one of the lessons I've learned from you. Because everything I'm going to talk to you today, I wouldn't have unlocked in my life unless you got put on my path. Like, imagine TikTok algorithm put me on your path and you bought a ticket to my event. And then I'm like, every time you have an offering, I'm like, let me sample that. Like, let me go deeper. Like, so I'm excited for what we're going to talk about.
Oh, blessed. Thank you so much for that. And I echo that sentiment back to you. I think that I would always describe the way that Liz and I are, on certain, everyone has like their own like little mission or intention or whatever they're working on in this reality that we're living in. um, but I would say that Liz is like, mission is, and her family's mission is seems really big. Like they're here to do some big things. And I feel like um, you know, com- expressing your creativity and creating spaces. Like I love that your connection with the Scorpio, because I feel like a big part of you is you transform spaces and you help people alchemize things in um in their own like witchiness too. Like Scorpio is that energy of like the witchiness of like, let's go to the occult, let's go deeper, let's like find what's in that closet and turn on that light and burn it or allow ourselves to feel, which is like is so important and so it's so necessary, and to allow people to be real, and I think that sometimes that can be hard for people, but the right ones that want to like get there, it's like, oh, that just transformed something that I didn't even recognize within myself. So I see that within you too, right? Like it's so cool. And obviously I've had the privilege of doing your chart and getting to like walk through and different chapters of your life, and be part of it. Like again, we met like by fluke, on one of these, and you're just like, I don't know the astrology, and I was like, I'm an astrologer, and then the rest is history.
No, wait, it didn't just happen like that. I was telling people today at Redpath about you and about this, and I said, I was sitting there and I had a sheet of paper and I was like, hey guys, I don't actually know astrology, but I got some notes from a astrologist I like to follow online. Does anyone here like astrology? And you typed in the chat, like, I'm an astrologist. And I was like, could you unmute yourself? And then you unmuted, and all we could hear was like, oh, like you had this music playing and you didn't realize it was on. And then you just got into like, this is what's happening in the sky. And we know that's probably Libra full moon. We're going into Libra full moon at that point. So, like, who knows what was happening at that
Yeah,
point in our lives?
yeah,
But
yeah.
all of a sudden, there you were. And the rest, I think I refunded your ticket. And I was like, will you talk at my event? You had bought a ticket to it. And then it was like, and then you said, and I have this in my notes next, by the way. So it's
Okay.
funny. It's
Yeah,
funny you came into this because when I was looking last night, I couldn't just look at this past year with you. I had to
yeah.
look at the impact you've made since this number, like we're in a number 9 year.
Yes, we are.
So, who was I when I first met you, and what
Right.
year were we in?
Yeah. Share
20,
share a little bit
2022?
about this for people that don't know what numbers are, because like Liz
Yeah.
is also a wealth of knowledge. It's a pleasure to talk about this with you because you're like she absorbs it and is like and put it in her
Well,
zeitgeist.
like it's that, like I said when I sent you that Pee Wee Herman video, like
Yeah.
connect the dots, la la la. I feel like that is what I do, and that's what's helped me like elevate. And I always become curious, and so I have many teachers like I
Yeah.
have Laura Dempsey that I really like. She's just a pure channel. I love Fiona Newman. She's such a like she teaches me these mystical Irish things, and so I really go towards people, and they end up unlocking something within me, and then I typically unlock something within them, right? And so
Yeah.
in 2022, you gave me a reading after we met,
Oh
and
yeah.
you said that my soul's journey was going from my head to my heart. And I
Mm.
am strong-minded. Like you want to talk about somebody who believes they're right, it might be me. And so but I've had so many people since you told me that, like different energy healers and stuff, that this is what I have to tune into, and like, and it's you told me that in 2022. But I can see this year how certain astrological things have
Yeah.
unlocked within me in this
Yeah.
number 9 wisdom year. Like, imagine a 9 year, we're ending a cycle and stepping into a number 1 year.
Yeah.
And it's the year of the wood snake. A lot of people online are talking about the year of the snake. And if you're gonna look at Chinese like astrology or Chinese I guess it's called what do they call it? Zodiac or whatever.
Yeah. 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 Chinese. Yeah.
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 So if we're gonna look at the wood snake, that's a more of a earthy energy, and it's a much different slow energy than if we were to imagine like a fiery snake that's like kind of
Yeah.
Scorpio vibe.
Yeah.
And we're going into a number 1 year, which is like and it's a fire horse. And so if you look into the Chinese zodiac and listen to people who are actually from there and hear what they have to say about what this energy means to them, then you can listen to that lesson on a deeper level. So
Yeah.
I don't think we realize after all we've done up until now, we're really stepping into this fresh new year next year with that fiery, bold, be unapologetically you. And confidence doesn't come with hate, right? Like if I was just to be Liz, it's not to say fuck you to everybody else. Like it's just me being purely me, and that's that bold energy.
Yep.
And I think that Pisces and Virgos really helped us. I think Pluto moving into Aquarius and the North Node being in Aquarius next year is going to be huge.
Yep.
Right. And so you had told me that my past lives and taught me to be strong, independent, and emotionally guided. So this is on the original reading that you gave to me.
Oh
And I
wow.
and I recently did a previous life reading, and all 3 lives, I was ostracized for my knowledge, that I was like a
Mm.
different knowledge keeper of different, like I was
Hmm.
a nun and sent to a monastery, and when I got there, I learned that I was more powerful in solitude, which is like my Capricorn moon in this lifetime. So I get to feel how beautiful solitude feels. But
Mm.
that was when I did my most sacred work and learned how to do things outside of the temple, like that. I'm not confined to a temple, but each time I was either assassinated for knowing too much or sent away for knowing too much or being too much, like that my power, which is through my knowledge and through my heart,
Yep.
that I realize now from like little micro moments in my life this year,
Yep.
I've learned like that, people love me or they really fucking hate me. And I have a funny feeling after those previous lives that that was probably true in those lives.
Mm.
And I know how much it can hurt me when it doesn't hurt me anymore. Like this year, people walked away from my life that I'm like, bye. Like I'm not crying right now. I'm still living. I'm still smiling. I'm still walking down the street. But I feel like old Liz would have hurt. Like that would have hurt so much when people left me or like didn't they like. I'll use soccer as an example because that was one of the biggest things that created me into my strength today.
Hmm.
If I scored goals, like my whole team didn't always like make it a big celebration because it was like, oh, Liz always scores goals. So it's like,
Right.
so it's almost like y- if you have power and people are jealous of that power, they don't always celebrate you. And I'm not trying to have power, right?
Hmm.
Like you can often be like almost ostracized because people are like, oh fuck, Liz intimidates me or Liz makes me feel less than myself and all I'm trying to be is me.
Right.
So I think that when you told me that my past lives, it was this number 9 year, and you told me that in 2022, that I really understand how I still carry it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it was thanks to Pisces North Node. And it's
Yeah.
thanks to Pluto and Aquarius.
Yes, like that deeper, like, yeah, what's cool about having Pluto kind of, well, not, it's giving us a trailer. We got a lot of, this is a year of trailer, is what I like to say. We've had a lot of movement from one area of our life into the next, giving us a taste of what's kind of ending and beginning for us. And then as the planets come back, we get to like take a second look, but officially next year everything moves forward, so we'll be ready to go. So this is like the trailer year. So it's interesting to hear you say that because yeah, relationships and like healing that um identity within self, not just in this lifetime, other lifetimes, is very much your chart. And I love the way that you're navigating it and connecting it together and understanding that like Pluto kind of like or coming in to be like, hey, like past things and things like that to kind of look at. And you just, I think that we have things come up and out, which I love about Pluto, is it likes to like, rebuild things and like, show us the stuff that we don't necessarily want to see and then help us kind of reinvigorate it in a way to make it like our power in a sense, because I find that like power is in the eyes of the beholder, and
Mhm.
and sometimes it's nice to know like we have that access within ourselves, and sometimes we forget and sometimes we outsource, or sometimes like things happen, shit happens, but like that reminder to come back home is like so important, and it feels like it just was so activated for you over these like last few years. And I've got to see you like just like and it's like it's cool, it's really cool to see.
Well, think about it. It's we went from Aries and Libra, which like so we
Hmm.
came from like when I first met you, I didn't
Yep.
know this because I wasn't tuning into it, but
Yeah.
I met you when the North Node was in Taurus and the South Node was in Scorpio. So I met you when
Yeah.
my rising sign was shedding, and
Yeah.
oh, what a shed it was.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I got sick every single Taurus new moon or full moon in that nodal journey. Little
Yeah.
did I know I was like Taurus teaches me to like I can feel it in my body, and it's usually like the energetic exchange. If I'm giving too much or not receiving, I get sick.
Yep.
So I don't get sick anymore. And then Aries and Libra North Node journey happened in that layer in the number 8 year, which is like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what
And
you
your
put out, you
past
get.
number is 8 as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. What you put out, you get back. And if we were putting it into ourselves and getting rid of relationships, so it's
Yeah.
like, what a beautiful opening. And then Pisces and Virgo has just been like, just do your mission, do your
Yes.
mission. And my Libra new moon intention was to be me, no
Yep.
more, no less. That scale, right? And
Yep.
sometimes I'm going to be less and sometimes I'm going to be more. And this is what balance looks like, moving side to side. It's not
Yeah.
sitting in the middle of both sides.
And that's what Libras, how Libras learn their balances. And most of us too, right? Like we don't know our boundaries until they're crossed, but like in a particular way, like your journey is to find your sort of harmony within self through relationships. Like it's a real contract to be like, okay, I want to learn about myself or learn about myself through relationships. It's just you learn a lot through relationships, like guarantee. Guarantee. You're also the
Mm.
sign of the mirror. But I just wanted to anyone who's listening who's not aware of maybe some of the things we're talking about. We are talking about the North Node and South Node, and these are just really great things to tap into in general because, as you can see, Liz is able to kind of go back in time and recognize her own main themes within her life and connect it to her chart because of where these particular north and south nodes are, which are your 18-month journey, like your particular 18-month journey, where you're growing and where you're releasing. And each 18 months, it switches into a different sign. And so that's where we started this podcast. We were talking about the Pisces, and we were talking about that's the North Node and Virgo South Node, and the themes that came with that: health, intuition, routine, trust. Maybe sobering up a little bit as well could be part of it. Taking your dreams more seriously, these sort of things. But it's the past ones were different brackets and different things that we were all collectively going through together but individually in different areas of our life. So it's kind of cool to be able to look into that because it's like a cheat code into knowing like what your 18-month journey is going to be for. And so we're kind of wrapping this one up in July of next year, but we're getting a taste of a new one that's coming up. It will happen in February. So before we jump into that, um,
Can I just add a little
yeah,
period to that
do it,
conversation?
do it.
You told me once upon a time, it might have
Yeah,
been a few years ago, that that the eclipses,
yes,
so when I started learning about the nodes, so you can call them the nodes of fate, the nodes of destiny,
yeah,
or that you always talked about how they were blast points on our like blast points of destiny, that they are really activating for us things. So like people always think of eclipses as something that is scary.
hmm,
But it's actually beautiful moments to understand things on a higher energetic level, like because it's magnified, right?
yep,
So it, I feel like the nodes have given me like a look in the sky at where the most potent moons are going to be of this
mm,
year. You know what I mean?
love, love, love. What a good way to put it. If you don't realize this from the very like little time we've listened to this podcast, obviously Liz has got the gift of gab, and the this is the Capricorn moon. But she was like, I don't know if I understood it yet, and I was like, it's in like the beautiful area of your chart of like being able to communicate with such a groundedness, So I love that. That's so well said. Okay, cool. So let's say we're going to jump into some of the top transits that happened this year. And if you're listening, maybe take note of these dates. If you can't remember, myself included, I asked Liz to look into them. I looked into them. I looked at my photos. I looked at some emails just to help me kind of recall some of these, I would say pillars or moments of maybe like a reorientation for some of us, could be subtle for some and bigger for others. But it was interesting, right? Like it was interesting to go back and see what was going on. And did you
Well,
find?
and I think that's the advice for anyone who's listening, that I will say, that I always tell people at my moon circles, is every time we take time to either screenshot a quote, or sometimes I screenshot like a horoscope that really speaks to me right now,
Yeah,
because I want future Liz to read that. I
yeah,
want her to see, like, right now this makes sense. And if
yeah.
you're trying to connect the dots in the future, it might make even more sense. Like I quit soccer because of the double full moons in um last year.
Mm,
Like I just knew what my notes told me from 2020 and 2023. Like it
yeah,
literally screamed a message to me that was like, Liz, this doesn't bring you satisfaction anymore. So like I'm literally sitting here and I have two journals, because I always have multiple journals on the go.
yeah,
So anyone who's listening, when Jen tells you dates and you look backwards and you connect these dots, your mind is going to be blown and you're going to understand that was what was written in the stars on the day you were born is your guide on this journey. And when I send Jen messages, guys, I send her a telescope emoji because I think that's what Jen like. I picture Jen with like in this library with the telescope. That's like her office in like another lifetime. And I picture you like in a Victorian era and like you're just like looking, and it's probably one of those rooms with windows all around, and you're just like
Yeah.
reading the sky for what we need to know. And then you go into a book on your shelf, which you have many, and you're like, oh, this is what she needs to know.
You know what? That really resonates with me, that imagery that you just kind of, I feel, intuited or channeled. That really resonates with me. That's so beautiful, interesting. I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to meditate on that a little later.
But can't you see how you, when we were talking, how you're like, oh, and this is why, Liz, you are that way, and you grab that book and you're like, let me read you a passage, and then I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I know this?
I just think, yeah, I just think everyone is so, I mean, the way I look at it is I think every chart is like so special in its own way. And I love it's such a privilege for me to be able to do a reading for somebody and to be able to sit and hold space and to see how your chart comes alive through your lived experiences and your choices because we have free will, and how we want to operate with the cards that we are dealt. And so to go through everything with you, to hear it out loud, to hear your how it lands for you and how, you know, what would be best for you in terms of your intuition and moving forward in certain directions, like all based on all the information, is just so cool to see how it like plays out. I just,
Mhm.
yeah, I still nerd out through it, like when I'm driving and my guides drop in like a chart moment that they like had been saving for some time. They're like, she's ready for this now, and I'll like, they'll put something in my mind's eye and I'll be like, oh my god, that's unbelievable. Like I still, it still blows my mind sometimes.
And it's always been floating there waiting. And it's like, okay,
Yes.
now's the time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what I mean when I say you taught me how to trust the timing. And like
Right.
what we're going to do, like, today, this is 2025. And if I rewatch this episode 5 years from now, I can't even imagine what I have built by then. Like, that is what I know is like, I want to build it today. That's like, that's my, when I only thought I was a Libra sun. Like
Yeah.
I wanted things now and I wanted to be in my masculine and and so I feel like at this point now I trust that. And I got the card I got in my last circle, which was the full moon in Gemini
Yeah.
with like, and
Yeah.
then now I'm like so crystal clear and thinking so differently.
Yeah.
It talked about
The blend.
I got the prophecy card.
Of
And
course.
she's sitting there and she's got like a teacup in her hand. Maybe she's reading her tea leaves, I'm not sure. And she's kind of dressed in like Victorian era and she's sitting on a stone and there's a sword in it. And only the person with the power can take out the sword. Well,
Hmm.
like it's in my sword and I literally put it in that rock because that's how powerful I am. And the prophecy is not, I state on this day that I will build a castle. It's like, I know that I'm going to build something. I just don't know what it is. And I'm going to be the conduit for this. And I'm just going to allow it to come through me. And I can't wait to see what it is. Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at now is like, I know what I'm building is going to be very Pluto and Aquarius. Like, I know that my mom's time is now. And I can't picture what it's going to be because it's bigger than I can imagine. So
Mm.
that's what I know, and it's floating up there like you just said, and it's just waiting for that perfect, like divine alignment. That's like, okay, now's the time for this to be activated, and send that person on her path, and you know, put $1 million in her bank account and make this easy. Like, there's gonna be things that just happen, and I'm like, I couldn't have wrote that 5 years ago.
That's so interesting because, you know, it's funny that you had the word prophet because I was like, yeah, that's so, because we all have that ability to be prophetic when we really like sit back and tune in. And I think it's sort of reminding me as I'm listening to connect it to what you said earlier about past lives and speaking your truth, which I believe your personal, because we all have our own personal one, your personal south node is in Sagittarius, past
Mhm.
life of Sagittarius, the truth teller, right? The
And it's
philosopher.
literal. Like now, I'm
Yeah.
like, now I'm gonna go on an obsession journey this weekend on South Node and Sagittarius. Thank you, General Wellness,
Because
because my
that's also
previous
being illuminated in this. I know that we're in the past talking about the future. We're crossing all the parallels here, but that also is prevalent to the Gemini full moon,
You're
right?
literally like making me buzz right now. I'm so excited to like look into that. And that's what you guys need to do. Stay curious.
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity killed the cat, but passion brought it back. And for me,
Ooh.
yeah. Fuck it. You didn't know that?
The second part I like was like I love the way that went together. Yeah.
But it's funny because for me, getting that card and walking into this number 1 year with Pluto in Aquarius and where we're at, like we're on the Santa Claus parade tomorrow for Red Path, and it was so beautiful today. We're all at Home Hardware. They're kind enough to like be our driver, and we were making the Island of Misfit Toys float.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like this is like who could have dreamed this was my life? It feels so good. And I feel
Mm.
like that's what the North Node in Pisces has gifted me, and all these lessons along this way, these past 9 years. It's like I'm about to walk into this really powerful time in my life. And with the shedding of my 10th house in Leo, like people are gonna realize like I'm not sorry for who I am. Like I'm gonna be who I am, and that's why that Libra new moon seed was so powerful because I always come back to it. I always
Mm.
come back like, just do you, Liz. Just be you, Liz. Like that's it. That's okay. Just be Liz. People aren't always gonna like it, and people are sometimes really gonna like it. But either
Yeah.
way, you're not here to satisfy anyone but your mission.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that. All right. I love that. Okay. Woof.
Yeah.
A lot of good
Is
stuff
this
here.
gonna be like too long of an episode?
Never, never. I suspected this much between the two of us, honestly. But this is what I was going to say is okay. So we're going to dive into some dates, and I'm just curious to know. We'll talk about what was coming up with us in real time, but we'll also talk about possible themes and things that maybe you might have experienced as well, just sort of to look into for yourself. Um, well, why don't we actually start off with we kind of already began with this, but when we talked about it earlier, we're going to start with the North Node that moved into Pisces and the South Node into Virgo. So this happened around January 11th, 2025.
Mhm.
That's when we would have started to get what I like to say like the whisper, of this new journey that we were all going to be starting to walk. And of course, throughout this 18 months, we get check in points, which are what the eclipses are all about. But what you might have noticed is maybe a pull to slow down. Um, Maybe overthinking came up. Maybe health things came up for you guys. Um, Maybe learning to like loosen control or um, particularly like maybe like the I always like to say like a microscope or some sort of like magnet was like, hey, we got to pay attention to this part of our body. Or routine gut issues was major for this year for a lot of people. um, you know Maybe you discovered that you needed to invest more in some spiritual practices, like some things that like maybe you're like, okay, I want to do some more Reiki or learn a little bit more about other things that can help heal. Like I feel like both Pisces and Virgo are very much a healing energy, just in a different way. Like one's of the soul and one's the body. And where do those two intersect? So like a reflection question would be like, where can I let go and trust and that life has my back? What was going on for you around that time, Liz?
Well, I have so many things like I just have to like flip to the beginning of my journal because I always start a fresh journal for each year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But when I'm flipping through it, I'm seeing a whole lot of number 9 year like information because this is typically when I really start diving into what's the energy of the year.
yeah,
And and then I really don't start looking into the Chinese zodiac until actually near the end of January because that's when it actually like it doesn't transit the first of the year, right? So I had written North Node into Pisces fifth house. This would have probably been from a meeting we must have had. That I need to focus less on friendships that aren't fulfilling, and I need to focus on what brings me joy. Less community responsibility, which like that really happened in a big way. Letting go of friendships that don't add value happened in a big way. Have fun, and I wrote beside it unbridled joy.
yeah,
And I had written underneath Mars squaring Chiron, activating ninth and sixth house, frustrations and with perspectives being challenged, maintain composure, plan ahead, revisit writing. And so, like, I would have done all those things. And if I keep flipping, there's a million other things that link to it, but that was the very first time I started mentioning the North Node.
yep,
Now, if I wanted to go deeper into that North Node, I'd be able to because I keep a trail. Um, that was like it activating, right? That was me
Yeah.
just like understanding that I'm
Yeah.
going to
Just
be
getting, we're all
really,
getting like the little like insights, intel about it.
yeah, that's the first like, okay, I'm
Hmm.
activating this. And then
Hmm.
I can see how the throughout the year how it really like how it really got bigger, bigger, and then it kind of peaked.
Hmm.
And then life got a little easier towards like towards September.
I always say when it can be subtle for some people, but I think the initial like first half of the 18 months is when people feel a little bit like, okay, things are dissolving, things are being heightened, you know? And then the second is like we're in more like integrating and it's less like, I don't know, strenuous or feeling more challenging. But I don't want to use those words for everyone. It could be different, but like less like buzzing in the background. It's more like, oh, okay, now I know what to do with it. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, now I know how to like move through it or use this and work with it because I've worked with it a little bit. So like,
Mhm.
thank goodness we have 18 months because like nothing, like transformation doesn't happen overnight. So I'll say for me personally, because Pisces is my North Node that I was born with, in my 10th house. And so I had a nodal return, which is like a real check in with like, hey, are you doing the journey that you said you were going to do when you came here? like,
I
uh,
love that.
yeah, right. So it's like it's almost like more, I don't know, it feels like it's like more spotlighted in a way. So I would say that when that entered my 10th house, which is like your career and like thinking about how you're showing up in this capacity, a lot of things came through for me within family, which is where my South node is Virgo, and work. So I think my family like got a property around that time, so that
Oh
was kind of,
yeah.
yeah, they got their property around that time, a farm, which was so lovely. And then I also started to take like a business course, like learning more about like the business side of like not so much the astrology but like how to like do the business part of it. So I was like from actually an astrologer who's used that as like the way that she's teaching people. So I was like that was interesting for me, just like
Mhm.
learning more about like that kind of side of things because like astrology is like my jam, but like learning more about the business part, which is the 10th house, like how can you bring those two together. So that was my initial like shift, which was kind of
Well,
cool.
and that's like the activation, right? Like for me, when you said one of them, for an example, was you gave a date from a date to a date, like December 6th
Yes.
to February 23rd for Mars and Cancer, right?
Yes.
So for me, what I do is I kind of I look for that first, like December 6th.
Yes.
I'll look from December 6th for that whole month and really see if there's a theme
Okay,
in my
and
tam.
let's jump into that. So this one I jumped over, but let's go to this one because this is about Mars retrograde in Cancer. So to
Mm,
with the jargon for people, that Mars represents our action. It represents our energy. It represents like our gusto. It's if you're feeling motivated, unmotivated, we refer to Mars. Now in Cancer, that has to do with matters of our emotions, our home. It has to do with like family sometimes, or even just like how we're nurturing ourselves. So anytime there's anything retrograde, it takes that outward experience and brings it inward. And it gives us
mhm,
that time to really see things from a different lens. So when we're like kind of always, I always like to say when we're on autopilot, we're not learning. So retrogrades help us kind of get off autopilot, like, and maybe there's some hiccups, maybe there's some things that come up for us to realize and adjust. So from December 6th, 2024 to February 23rd, 2025, we had that action into inward time with family. And I think there was another sign too, but I think the most was the Cancer part really came through. So maybe you felt drained. Maybe there were some emotions that came up. Maybe you were frustrated. Maybe old family dynamics came up, or your motivation dipped. Themes were like emotions, boundaries, personal safety, slowing down was the point, honoring your feelings was the point, and taking care of your energy was the point. So, a question to ask is like, where did you feel maybe emotionally stretched, or what was actually replenishing you?
mm. You know what's crazy is I feel like Mars in retrograde in Cancer made me have to take care of me because that's when Charlotte was kind of at her most difficult time,
Right.
health time,
Yeah.
and no, but the doctors weren't listening. And so it was like as a mother, I felt completely powerless.
Right.
So I would say from December 6th, well, it was only hives December 6th. It was like the beginning of January when things really felt heavy. But it was activated in that way in December. And I just remember feeling like all that mattered in my life was my family, and Aquarius is in my fourth house, right? So
Yeah.
you can see this big theme of my 20-year journey will have to do with, because I care for community the way I care for my family. So what I
Hmm.
learn within my home, I bring into the world. And so I think that Mars really taught me that I don't have to do everything myself. And you had said that in the 2022 reading, that like part of one of my lessons in this lifetime is probably like to know that I don't have to do it all myself, and strength isn't carrying it all alone, and I can carry it alone. Like
Yes.
I have a moon in Capricorn.
Yeah.
I can do everything alone. Like
Yeah. You're like, we're building this house. Great. I've come up with the plan. I have the tools. I have all the, it's like, yeah,
so
totally.
I think
Totally.
it really helped me with the way I lead, the way I
Yeah.
live at home. And so I feel like Mars and Cancer really made me just do what I need to do. And that's enough, which is
Yeah.
huge for me because I can do more.
Yeah. Yes, but do we have to, right? Yeah. Like, who says that? Who's in charge of you? You,
So
right?
that do you have to? That I would say that maybe has been a check-in that Mars in retrograde and Cancer taught me.
Beautiful. Give you that perspective because you're Cancer's in her ninth house, which is like perspective as well and what she teaches. Um, so interesting. So for me, it's in the second house. So that's for me what my values are and my work. And I am born with Mars in Cancer. So that was a real check in point with my own actions. If you have a Mars in Cancer, often you move based on how you feel. And guess what?
Mm,
Your Mars, your actions is connected to the moon, which changes every 2.5 days. So some days I'm feeling it and some days I'm not.
I love that.
Right. So you always have to, I mean, it goes to another level. Um, Yeah, so I feel that around that time I was really checking in with myself in terms of my work and what my values were, and if I what needed to be changed. That felt really prevalent within my work routine, and how I care for myself and how I care for my work, as I feel like the two sometimes bleed into each other. um, and you like it's like you got to get. I think I got to the point where it's like similar to you, right? If you're not your business, like I am, you guys are only seeing a fraction of me based on, but it's like when you put the two together, then that's a disservice to yourself. Because if your business isn't doing what it's supposed to be or whatever, like you feel like it's not doing well, then that can affect you. And that's not, they should be, the two are separate. So it's just
Mhm.
like that.
Oh,
So that was one of my check-in with my values, how I was moving. Um, my emotions, my feels, but also like how they're helping or hindering. So maybe that was something
mm.
that came through with that.
Well, and when we reflect, the most beautiful part is like, and then coming back to today, which is where you are, and being
Yeah,
like, oh my God, I can't imagine how beautiful life would be right now if that hadn't have happened.
right,
So it's
right.
like we always have, like I have a thing I give out in my moon circles that one side has the moon, and Nikki York designed it, and one side has the moon and it says, "What have you learned?" And on the other side has the sun and it says, "And how did you grow?" Because here we
Hmm.
are today, and so like from that Mars and Cancer, like boy did I grow.
Yeah.
So that's the next reflection I love to do is like now I look at today and like what gifts has it given me? And what have I really let go of? One girl at my last moon circle, when we reflected on what we planted in the new moon in Gemini, she had a screenshot on her phone that said, what you choose, what is it? Hmm. It's something about like what you choose, like, oh, what you choose, you can't change what you choose. And so she stopped choosing things that weren't good for her on that new moon. And when she looks back 6 months, boy, has her life changed. And so that quote today holds way more truth than like past her even knew.
Love.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
And I think you're touching on something that I like a lot too, is retrospection.
Mm.
I think you and I bond on this. I mean, people use astrology for various things. I love to help us plan in the here and now, but I also really love wholeheartedly using it for retrospection, like going back and like, and really honing in on that to help us connect deeper. And so I feel like what you just said is is what also Liz does is in her spaces and her moon circles too, because she loves using dates and connecting to Mother Moon is how she calls it. And I love the way that you experience and express it, because I just know that these are just ways in which we can allow ourselves this like grace to really just open our eyes and hearts to the way that we're everything's kind of interconnected and here to help us in the grand scheme of things. So I just kind of love that, love the way
Mm.
that you facilitate that as well in your own beautiful circles if you have
Well,
a chance.
and I didn't know that I also, because I've always been so laser focused on the moon, and this is like, I just realized this. It's funny because when I started following the moon was because I was so laser focused on seeing the sun, seeing the sunset. And what I've realized now in the way I teach, I actually always honor the seasons. And so I didn't realize it that I was always teaching the sun as much as I was teaching the moon.
Mm,
Because I always thought it was just really the moon that I cared about, right?
yep.
But it's like they both are teaching us things if we're paying attention.
Sun and the moon, which is, a sun is of our own selves, right? It's in astrology is the part of us that we project out, the part of us that we identify with, our ego, our sense of self. And I mean, to your point, at the earlier stage of this conversation, you're like, that's the one I really understood. And then we went in a little deeper. And the moon is that like part of us that comes out at night, right? Our subconscious, the part that we just need to feed what we need and like at work and everything. So it's our I think are also like our instincts and intuition in a big way. So it's cool. I mean, the two go together, the moon and sun, right? They need to come in together.
Hmm.
Okay, so Liz already talked about this a little bit, but we're gonna rally you guys in here. If you can think about January 21st, 2025, we had in astrology terms, then I'll explain what's called Pluto Cazimi in Aquarius. So what's the hell does that mean, Jen? Well, that means that transformation, deep things being sort of dug up. Pluto deals with power. It deals with big shifts. It deals with, and it's in a sign that has to do with community. So power dynamics, maybe truths became obvious, even if there's some things that came up that were uncomfortable. So themes of like authenticity, long-term change, facing the truth, embracing change, maybe stepping into more authentic self. So like a question would be like, what truth about myself or my life did I finally face? Uh, you know, um, so yeah, I was just that was kind of the energy of that day. But again, where it was and landed in your life, it's going to be different. And Liz and I will share a little bit personally, and maybe it'll help you guys kind of connect to that too. I don't know if I know something came up for you, but whatever you feel comfortable sharing in terms of like, what did that feel like for you on that day?
So, do I need to turn a light on as the sun's going down? Am I too dark?
No, you're good. You're
Okay.
good. Yeah.
So I needed to look at my notes because I'm like, I wonder what happened around that date. Because I like to look around the date because a
Yeah.
couple
It
days
doesn't
before, a
always have
couple
to
days
be
after.
good point to say because it doesn't mean if you look at January 21st and you're like, nothing happened, look around the date too because people feel the energy prior to it, like a week before, a week after, even like, so.
Well, what I I had just gone to see the naturopath with Charlotte.
Mm,
So I feel like that would have been when somebody was finally like, "Yeah, Liz, this is probably connected to when she had mono. Yeah, Liz, there is a way that we can help try and not be on Benadryl every day." So I feel like, okay, let's order some blood tests. Like I feel like that was when we finally got some ways that we could care for her problems.
so it was actually a
Because
nice breakthrough for you. Like
it took so long to be heard and it took so long to heal her gut and to get
yeah.
to sick kids eventually that I realized that it was that Pluto Kazemi that I had been to the pop clinic and again they had told me lots of kids are itchy this year and like I'm not putting down the system. They're doing the best they can in there, but I wasn't listened to. And that like I remember like leaving the hospital crying. And so I feel like that's not long after, it was only a couple days after Pluto Kazemi, I was finally heard. And it felt so good to like kind of cry about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like
100%.
move forward with a little more strength towards maybe the light, like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
That's what it was for me.
Yeah, well, because your fourth house is mother, being a mother, and I feel like during that time you really had to advocate. And you played devil's advocate in terms of the system. I think you do this quite seamlessly, where you understand the the system in a sense, but you also understand that there's a lot of alternatives and ways that we can look at things and explore things. So like being that advocate and having to be that person in the corner, and then having Pluto come together to allow that like emulsation, I don't know what word they're
Mhm.
using right now. That's not even a word I'm
Yeah,
even.
emulsion, or like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's like one of those things that mixes up the.
that's what they're using. And I was like, I would never use that word. That's so interesting. I love that word, emulsation. I can't say it right now, but I know what you're trying to tell me. Thank you. And I think Liz knows too. So this is good. So yeah, that's really cool to have that like breakthrough in that sense. For me, it was interesting. I started so it's in my ninth house.
Mm,
Um, I have a friend who has an Aquarius moon, and she also is a rising Gemini like myself. So we go through similar cycles, and I've met her in university. So I've known her for a couple of decades. We live in different places. Sagittarius moon, so most of my friends are long distance, whether they're in Peterborough or they're across into the U.S. Um, a lot of long distance friendships, but like soul connections. So she and I decided, because she did but we both had done I don't really advertise this, but we both did Dolores Cannon's program, where we did levels 1 and 2, which is basically allowing holding space for people to go through their past lives through a hypnosis, which is actually very easy to do. And she, being Aquarius moon, has a maverick. She's killer at this. Loves it. Does it. I sometimes have more emotions with some of it, so like I've had to work with that. But she's pretty good at being um, not like that. Anyways, so long story short, she figured out her own way on how she's taking Dolores's program, and so I was like, of course, she's not a rule follower, but we decided to start doing sessions with each other. So the ninth house is also long distance, education perspective and friendship, community, all that stuff. And she's like a community member for me, where we would hold space for each other each week about what messages were coming through from their guides. So we would have like she would do me on Monday and I would do her on Friday, and we just like we're doing that for each other because we do it for so many other people, and also just we're in our own like, yeah, just able to do that naturally, and like no astrology, nothing, just like us sitting and coming up and holding space for what was coming through for their highest best. So we did that first time, and that was the catalyst of that moment where we decided, yeah, this would be really cool. And then of course like life happened, we're not doing as much anymore, and I do it in sessions, but it was like a nice little thing for us to do long distance.
Well, I would say that that is a huge part of what makes your offering so special is the way you check in, like with the person's team, and then give
Mm-hmm.
them the message of what they need to hear. So you don't just look at the chart; it's like a higher level connection of many things. It's my favorite
Yeah,
part about when I did the one-on-one thing where we did it. Did we do it all the way to the spring almost?
I
How
may
long?
I think so. Yeah, I can't.
I just kept adding another month, right? But I loved it. That's when I was going through this difficulty with Charlotte, and
Yeah,
I thought I was signing up to do this so I could like make this business thing or like make a download or. But I was really doing it because little did I know that I needed this guidance through that time without knowing why. And like,
yeah,
and I remember like a lot of the messages like I probably cried, and I remember one time we got on the Zoom and you're sitting there and like as a Capricorn moon, like I really appreciate you for that. And you were just like, okay, before we get started, I just have to ask, like, is everything okay? And I just remember crying. I just remember saying like how difficult things were. And then you really held space for that. And that would have been probably around this Pluto Kazemi because I signed up on the beginning of January for your offering.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
probably helped me get through this moment. And now today, like all the skills I've gained because of that, what we had to go through with Charlotte, like I think it helps
Yeah.
makes me appreciate life deeper, right?
Yeah, 100%. And Liz, I think you're touching on something really big that everyone can resonate with, which is sometimes we don't need more information in terms of like the astrology part. And a big part of what I love too, which is like just holding space for what is, and also what needs to come through naturally without us getting into all the mechanics of things, right? Like I was like, I like, you can already tell like energetically and emotionally, like I was like, we're gonna cross that, but right now this is more like the team was coming in hot. We're like, we're gonna put this to the side right now. We're gonna have a human connection here
Yeah.
about
Well, I
what's
think
going on.
that's why it's beyond read like that's why it's beyond just to look at my chart and
Yeah,
here's a
yeah,
write up about your houses. It's
yeah.
more like, okay, this is how it's affecting you, and then you pick up the, oh, okay, wait, I can feel like
Hmm.
I can feel it's being activated. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's no judgment, right? And
No,
that's what, because for me, like I think people have a hard time really knowing me, and that like that's also in my chart.
yeah,
But I also don't let everyone know me, and like sometimes people really want to know me and I don't want to know them. And so I feel like that's what I can appreciate about you.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
you just see me and I don't have to be any more or less than I am. You just know me based on what the stars tell you.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And whatever I feel comes through is my intention and my is really for whatever's in the highest best for you in that moment. And what it was in the highest best at that moment was not for us to go through the mechanics, was us to just have a real like, yeah, like, this is what's happening, but this is how it's landing for you, and this is what's feeling, and like, okay, how can we work through this, and what
Mm,
can we, and also just not work through it, but also just experience it first and foremost. Yeah,
big time.
yeah,
You're the best, Jen.
right back at you. Okay, so we're moving into Venus retrograde in Aries, which would have happened in March 2025. So like this is so back to what we were saying. Rather action, Venus is more about our values, our finances. It's to do with our connections, how we come together. Like Venus is the home girl that we want to like check in with, where she's like, is this working for us anymore? Like
Hmm.
um, I think a lot of the themes could have come up with rethinking relationships, friendships, finances, questioning what you really want versus what you thought you should want, self worth, because Aries is about self worth, love, desire, reconnecting with what generally brings you joy, like what are you actually passionate about. So, like a good question would have been like, what did I discover? What do I truly like want to like learn about myself, and the people that I work or interact with.
Well, and this touched the eclipses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
the eclipses happened, like I remember because I got your digital download for the year. Like that's why I'm saying, people, like if you just want some information to go within, like you have to get all Jen's offerings. But you had called the Aries solar eclipse the
Mm-hmm.
graduation.
Yes.
And so I feel like this Venus retrograde was a real gift in the eclipse
Mm-hmm.
season. Like I feel like I wrote beside it, it was a turning point because that's when, and I know this was the moon connecting with Venus retrograde in Aries, but I feel like that's when I actually went to Jungle Flower Wellness. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so what actually, and I felt like this was such a big, and that's when Father Leo died, and that's where I have the Ecclesiastes for
Wow.
the
Yep.
season and timing, and so what came out of this was, well, first of all, the reason I found Jungle Flower Wellness was because Charlotte was going on a class trip to the Blue Jays game, and because at this point in my like Pluto and Aquarius, I guess,
Yeah.
I had to be close to Charlotte in case she had a reaction and she needed to like, shit her pants on the way home. Like who knew what was gonna happen? We didn't
Right.
know with her stomach, like, and she couldn't eat the food at the Blue Jays game, but she wanted to be a regular kid. And she'd already missed like at this point so many days of the year because of mono and then the illnesses with her stomach. So I needed to find something in Toronto to do while she was there. Like I was a ghost in Toronto. She didn't need me, I'm going home, and if she needs me, I'm swooping in. And so I found her because I was looking online for a sound bath because I love sound bath. And I'd had that before that, like in one reading, that sound baths are really for me. And so I looked up sound bath in Toronto and it was all just like spas and like no offense to that. But it didn't, I wasn't looking for a $500 sound bath in a spa that I've like lots of people go to. I wanted to find something unique. So I looked on TikTok and I found her and it was like that experience really, really just like I felt like helped things dissolved and helped me just like it felt like a shedding, I would say. And here we are in the
Mm-hmm.
9 year, right? And so for me it was about my voice matters, my boundaries matter, and my needs matter. So we can
Mm-hmm.
imagine these lessons I've been learning.
Yep.
and how that retrograde really illuminated for me. And you talked to me in my original reading about my communication and stepping into honesty with intention. And so the only way I can do that is with boundaries and with like I write all the time and I never share it. So like that's like kind of one of my shadows is like I'm here to share my voice, but like I only share sometimes.
Hmm.
So I feel like Venus retrograde in Aries really showed me because like Aries is like self, right? Like you think about
Yep.
when you think Aries and it's like warrior from the heart. For me, that was really like, okay, Liz, part of who you are is so important is your voice. So I think that retrograde really showed me a lot of things about life.
Love that. Beautifully said. The only thing I will add is that my food palette changed. Sometimes that happens
Wow.
when Venus goes inward.
Come on.
Your taste for food changes. So I remember I started changing the way I was eating, what I liked right around this time.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes it's kind of interesting to see because like if you're especially I mean I know it was in Aries, but it still affects all the so this may be too much, but I think Liz will so for not for everyone, but anytime a planet goes inward in your chart, of course that area of your chart is being asked to be looked at inward, but it also affects other houses that are ruled by it, right?
Mhm.
Or and you're also personal Venus.
Mhm.
So all of it kind of comes in together for a story to help you connect to it further. Oh yeah. Okay. So then we have March 30th. March
Mm.
30th, 2025. So this is when Neptune would have entered Aries. So this could be a time where maybe you felt more inspired, maybe restlessness to, start fresh, maybe you're questioning your identity, who you are, your purpose. Themes of like creativity, personal vision, new beginnings. The point was to sort of reconnect with your authentic self and your like creative part of you. A good question would have been like what part of yourself is like waking up in this part of your life. um that was around March. There was a couple things happening in March, but this is March 30th. um Curious to know what happened with you, Liz.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Okay, so on the exact day, this is what's in my notes.
Yep.
Let me just find the perfect angle. No, just kidding. Okay, Neptune. It says Scorpio rising. Bring the sacred closer. Feel it in each step, even in the mundane routine of your everyday. Neptune in Aries is inviting you to create more space for the sacred. It is here that empowerment, direction, and the intentional building of your life can be found. And like I had written in like when I thought about this date when you sent it to me of how my daily life doesn't need to be rigid or like so Virgo. Because if you
Yeah.
think Virgo, it's actually like Puritan, like not Puritan, but like the wheat goddess, right?
Yeah.
So that my daily life needs to be spiritually woven through. And
Hmm.
then if I scroll to my next note, it says this. If you've ever wondered what it means to truly know yourself, to trace the sacred lines of your soul map, let Jen be your guide. She doesn't just read your chart, she remembers you back to yourself with wisdom, tenderness, and depth. She holds space like a lighthouse, calling you home. 10 out of 10 would journey this path again. Thank you, Jen, for the blessing you are in my life. So, Saturn entering Aries. I mean, you have really taught me how to like really my daily care. I think because you're like when I first met you, you were always talking about these hygiene, like these energetic hygiene practices you do, and I think that's like Neptune and Aries. Hello, sixth house.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. Yes. Wow, that's just transported me. Then thank you for those kind words. And it's interesting to see that because like I think we've talked about your routine and in different ways, and like you even recognized when our last time we checked in where you're like, I have to do something, like I do a lot of group stuff. I'm, active with this, that, the other, but like for some reason I feel like whatever I decide to do next, it needs to be just for me. And I'm like, that's so Aries, right? Like your routine has to kind of work for you, but maybe it is just a solo thing. Um, that also plays into like the work that you do is like you can do it yourself, but do you want to? Like right? Because that sixth house is not just like your routine, but it's also how you serve. And so finding that has been really interesting. And I find often when we chat, like, which is what I feel like, I've said this a couple of times, but if not everyone's listened to every podcast, this is worth me mentioning again. Something that the guides showed me, which is great, is like when you're speaking um, in session or in life through people, often you will hear like from a book, like someone highlighting a certain page or a certain sentence. That's your intuition, your guides being like, we got to pay attention to that. That's the message for you. Not everything that we say in this episode is for you, but there are going to be certain points where you're going to be listening and something's going to be highlighted. And it's like, oh, that was for me. And that's always, we're always in connection and communication. Like when you speak and someone's like, oh, that's it, like that's you talking to your team. Like that's like that little subtlety that we don't even realize.
I
It's
love the way you say that because that is really the noticing, and it's like what we're like. It's that's how you're tuned in. When you talk
Mhm.
about how everything's interconnected,
Yeah,
when you notice what's being highlighted, you're just like, okay. You smile. It's like you say thank you.
yeah, yeah,
That's
well,
when that's when life really gets like beautiful. Because
yeah,
now it's like more of it, and you're just like, oh, like, and then again, for somebody who is so used to, and you, like you said in my 22 reading, to doing things alone, when you start to acknowledge that, you start to realize, like, I'm not doing anything alone.
yeah, yes,
Totally changes
yeah,
everything.
yep, yep, 100%. We're never really alone in that sense. Um, March 30th for me, I went to see John Edwards, who, if anyone's not familiar with, is yeah,
I remember that time of your life.
yes, he's a psychic medium, and he's an OG, guys. Like, if you're not familiar, like he was on television when I was like 8 years old, and I was born in '89, so I'm 36. So, he's not on like television anymore. He has his own platform and stuff. But anyway, sometimes I see him on TikTok lives, and then he came back on my radar because he is a big enthusiast and believer of astrology, and was like he uses it in his practice, and I was like, this is really cool. He's using the modalities in which I love, right? Like, being able to talk to the other side and also use astrology. And he's like, I don't know, he's got a very much integrity. I gravitate towards people that have integrity with what they do, and in no BS. And he became what he was because he didn't believe it was possible. He was like, I'm going to prove all these psychic mediums wrong. And then he became one, right? So that was part of his journey. And so a lot of people come and find him that are like trying to disprove it. And then he ends up helping them, for instance, in this case, solve a murder. So
Mm.
yeah, I went to see him because my mom was like, we have to go see him. And I was like, oh, interesting. I think I'm going for a different reason than you are. And she was like, okay, great. So we've connected, him and I, and Neptune in my house entered my house of friendship. And like Neptune is also the spiritual planet. So and also goals for the future. So it was like, oh, I was kind of meeting him in that moment, and he was kind of activating my goals for my future, and also being the Neptune planet, because sometimes the planet can be a person that kind of pops into that energy that it possesses in that area of life. So it was really cool.
And you were really I remember how excited you were.
Yeah, no, like because he's like, to me, I don't to me, I don't really look at anyone in this lifetime like I don't put people on a pedestal, but I respect, like I got respect for him and the way that he operates. And um yeah, I was just stoked. I was stoked to see to be to connect with someone like that. So yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
Very Neptune and Aries.
Yeah, very Neptune and Aries.
Like we always forget ourselves.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, it was just cool to be in the room because he was like saying this, like messages he was delivering to certain people, certain families. Everyone else needed to hear them too. So it was like it was a collective, even though it was individual. And he's no BS. It's so funny.
that's
Uh,
the highlighting again right there.
Sorry.
That's the highlighting again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I got a lot of highlights in those moments. My grandparents came through, and messages that I needed to also pay attention to as well. So I was like, great, love it, here for it. Okay, so then we had Saturn enter Aries. Now that was big too because that would have happened around May 24 of 2025. So that's Saturn in Aries is like life asking you for maybe more responsibility, more discipline, more long-term planning. Some choices may have felt, like maybe like okay, responsible but necessary. Themes of commitment, accountability, discipline. The point is to step into more maturity and ownership of your life. So a good question would have been like, where did I step up this year? And, where did I need to claim more of my own path? So this is around May 24th, 2025. What came through for you, Liz?
Well, I feel like I really started to mine this information when Saturn went direct recently.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, like Saturn this year has really been big for me, I feel like.
Well, you ruled by it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like and
Yeah.
that's when I
Yeah.
had it went direct. I remember when it went direct and I read about it, I was like, wait a second. I need to connect these dots because I feel like this moment of like Saturn going direct, there's like a real integration piece coming. Like,
Yeah.
and so for me, when I looked back, it was like um that Saturn really asked me to take myself and my gifts seriously. That I just like the idea of devotion and clarity, and that I just need to commit to me and not dim to make other people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You had told me in 2022 when I reflected on that to even add the other layer, that I'm a natural leader meant to shine, and I feel like Saturn really helped me step into that fully because I emceed my mom's event. It was like just so from my heart. Like
Oh yeah.
people had never felt me had heard me speak before, and so the whole couple hours of her documentary was kind of a story of Peggy, and that's what I really want it to be, and that's who I am. Like one of my gifts is I'm full of shit and I can tell a story. And so I feel like Saturn for me this year really just is preparing me for the shedding of Leo next year.
Hmm.
The way I look at it. Yeah, that's the kind of the lesson. And that's when I really got started to get excited about Aquarius and Leo of next year, was when Saturn went direct.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Love, 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 love those dots. Um, for me, I started the podcast.
Oh man, yeah.
So there you go.
It's like I think that's my favorite part about you is consistency. Like like you're a very consistent person and you do what you say, and I think that that's what you showed up on my Spotify list. I think you were my number one podcast.
Oh, Liz.
Don't podcast, but every time your episode comes out, I have to listen to it because I'm like, what am I going to write down in my journal from general with the cap locks general wellness or a telescope, right?
Well, I appreciate you, and I will say I appreciate this episode, and I know others are going to as well and I know that you also appreciate good conversations, and this is partly what birthed this. Is like, what can I give to people to help them connect in a bigger way, but also an opportunity for me to sit across from some individual who also brings some sort of wisdom and magic into this world. That it's two heads better than one, and we can share a little bit of our own stuff and ways in which we're working through it, because not everyone hears astrology like like savvy, but they know they're interested or curious, and they also have their own offerings, and I'm just like, I want to talk to you, and I know this conversation is going to help others, and that's the intention. So coming on here and because I don't know about you, Liz, and I know you probably could agree with this, but I can't speak for you, is like, how many times do we have these like conversations, lightning in a bottle moments, and I'm like, damn, I wish this was recorded, this could help other people, and that's kind of the whole basis of this.
Just like I definitely had this moment of thought that kind of clicked with what you're saying right now is like if one of these previous lives like I was always afraid of people fully hearing me or fully seeing me or whatever, like if that put me in danger, I'm sitting here thinking like am I talking too much, like, and that's actually what we love to do is me and you love to talk. And
Yeah.
I realized like if this is the last episode of the year and it's Capricorn, then this isn't necessarily an episode that has to fit on a 30-minute jog. It could be something that you're listening to over, like you're committing to watching this to the end because you want to see if there's a message for you. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's 3 hours, it's not going to be, but that was like, again, I had this moment of like, oh, like I have written down what I've said, but should I say it? Because I know that we've been talking a long time, but then it dawned on me, Liz, you're doing it. That's like, again, that's not belonging in this lifetime. Talk as long as you need to,
Yeah.
because it makes sense.
Yes, Liz. Yes. And like, please. Okay, now we are moving into Jupiter enters Cancer. Oof. Okay. This was around June 9th.
It was a blessing. This was like such a blessing.
Yes. Well, June 9th, I just have to say quickly, I'll tell you guys, but as soon as Jupiter, anything it touches, it expands. And it's been so great. I think there's been a lot of healing with family and with our own emotions and our own hearts this year, in not just this lifetime, but in other lifetimes. Jupiter is also our teacher. But, it's abundance and everyone talks about the good fortune side. But what if too much of anything isn't a good thing, right? So when it touches something, it opens it up and creates more. So I definitely felt initially, and I don't know how you felt around June 9th, although the waterworks came in, but in a good way, like it was an opening way. So for everyone else, what you might have noticed, like maybe a pull toward home, family, emotional connection, generosity, nurturing energy, maybe themes of emotional fulfillment, or the whole point was really to find joy and abundance through, family care and like home, like self nurturing. Where did you feel fully supported and nurtured this year is the question. But yeah, I know initially when it came in, I felt, and I know a couple clients came in, they're like, whoa, I've been crying all week and I don't even know. And I was just like, yeah, Jupiter's like ready for us to move away from our heads because it was in our head space into our heart space and into our feeling space. So we don't heal unless we feel. And sometimes it's not even like big, sometimes crying is just so cathartic and so necessary. Like as you expressed in like real time, it's just so cathartic and necessary.
Well, and I think that's it. Like I'm looking each one when I look at each of these moments, it's like when you look at the bigger picture of life, it's kind of crazy how it guides us all to now, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like why I say that Jupiter moment was such a gift. I
Yeah.
feel like that was kind of like Charlotte was starting to feel better. She was making
Mhm.
it to school. So like life softened, I feel like.
Oh, nice.
And then I feel like um I started to see like how what I learned from Charlotte because I started advocating for someone to see a naturopath as well. I feel like Jupiter taught me like I'm allowed to receive as well because I'm
Mm,
always giving to people, and whether it's my kids, my husband, my family. But I feel like, and that was like when my first, that would have been one of my first moon circles back in her acres, which I feel
yeah.
like the first one is always so sacred, right? So I think it was giving me a preview of just how content I would feel today.
Mm.
Jupiter just felt really and we were in the process of moving.
Wow.
We were moving to our new location.
See, so that's also a thing. Jupiter can help like expand something, homes, like people are moving, that kind of stuff too could have come up for you as well.
Mhm.
So beautiful. That's so nice.
Oh, and I feel like I started sending my newsletter, which I haven't been doing anymore, but I will be again. But um, I feel like I started to see maybe what I know now about what I want to offer to the world.
Yeah.
Because I think I got so busy with the move that like a seed was planted, like softening and a caring for myself.
Yeah.
Now we're like kind of comfortably where we are, and I kind of know what I want to do and what I don't want to do right now. So that helped show me that.
Hmm. Love, 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 love. Yeah. Yep. I think I mean, yeah, I just like it almost gave you like maybe an exhale is kind of the word I'm feeling from what you're describing, like an exhale. And it gave me an exhale too, but in a different way.
Can I just say that's so funny because we're talking about this after the last full moon of 2025, which is technically the last exhale. And
Mm,
you just said that like and I compared to how I feel right now is like that was a moment like that kind of describes how I feel right now. Like I feel very blessed with who I am and what I do. And I feel like that really felt the same way in June.
mm,
Mhm.
love,
It's
love that.
interesting, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. I kind of knew this would happen. We'd just be like, "Whoop," you know,
But you know what? I feel like Uranus, though, I feel like that was maybe like I feel like all these moments were big, but I really feel like um
July 7th. We're
yeah.
moving to July 7th. Okay. So July 7th, you're on a center Gemini, and you're going to tell me what happened for you then.
Well, because I feel like that softening of the like previous transit came into this July transit, which was like if I'm here to speak and share my voice, I feel like when Uranus entered Gemini, which is my North Node and my Chiron,
Hmm.
and it's in my eighth house.
Yep.
And so for me, like my mind, my voice, my ideas, they kind of exploded open then. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that was when if I looked in my journal, I'm sure it would blow my mind, but that's when I really realized like that sharing my voice is what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I bet you if I looked back in my journal, it would probably blow my mind. But what was happening in your life, July?
So Uranus entering Gemini. So for everyone listening, Uranus is that energy of the awakener. So like it can bring sudden changes, disruptions. It can also help you break through things. So like maybe around this time, not exactly the date, but around this month, maybe sudden insights came in, new opportunities, maybe unexpected shifts. Things might have felt maybe unpredictable or exciting. Themes of innovation, curiosity, mental growth, adaptability. Thank you. The point is for us to embrace change, stay flexible, open our minds. And then maybe a question would be like, what unexpected insight or opportunity changed your perspective this year? Thinking about that.
Well, you know what's crazy is I just actually looked at my notes on my phone and what I had written. So it would have been a few days later, would have been it would have been a full moon in Leo, maybe.
Mm,
And I had written, I release the noise, the doubt, and the filters. I no longer silence myself to keep the peace. My voice is clear, my words are sacred, and I speak from the deep well of truth within me. So I just talked about how I did feel like this idea of speaking it like something had been like opened.
yeah,
And I really feel like that came from that idea of not being sorry. But it's also like we have to understand, like I'm not trying to say share your voice so that everybody can be pissed off. Because it still has to come from your heart. Like you're never just speaking and like this is who I am, and if you don't like it, then let's fight. It's more about like being in your integrity and speaking from your heart. So that's what I feel like that time in my and that was the 10th house, right?
yeah. So the Uranus entering your
No, but that season.
no,
Oh
my
no, so it would have been that would have been around the Capricorn coming into a Capricorn full moon.
hmm
Hmm.
hmm full
Yeah.
circle moment.
Yeah, I'd say that that probably was a Capricorn full moon when I wrote that, what I was letting go of. Because the noise, like what people think of my mom, and I knew we were going to release her documentary. And often when I'm releasing the noise, like I don't actually care if you like me or not. Like if you don't like me, like I'm not looking to sit down and find out why. Like that's not going to serve my life any better. And
Right,
so I knew when we were going to release this documentary of my mom that she goes against the grain in life and she can often be misunderstood. And so that would have probably been a time in my life where I was like looking at what we were moving towards and that she was going to be sharing her voice more. And I had to be more comfortable not caring what people thought.
right.
And then some experience came into my life in July that just showed me that, okay. And I just kept flowing with it. Okay. Okay.
You have perspective.
Big time. Yeah.
So yeah, so July 7th would have been still Cancer season. So that's your ninth house perspective. What are you learning? What do you want to teach?
Yeah.
And that's all about coming from the heart too. Cancer is the key to that heart home space, like what home feels like to you.
So
You know,
it opened doorways for me, I think, Uranus
yeah,
and Gemini. Yeah.
love, 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 love.
Mhm.
Um, I was I went on a surprise trip with my dad.
I remember that too.
Yes, my best friend. Um, my sun is connected to Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter. So like your sun sign is not just you, but you're connected with your father. So I'm blessed in this lifetime. We have best conversations. And I learned I've never traveled with him, just him. Usually it's the whole family or my mom and him. So it was a really nice opportunity at like an older age where we're both on the same page to travel together. And he's my favorite person to travel with, like hands down. Um, and we it's fun. We're both Geminis, so Uranus entered Gemini, and you feel it before. So he literally just wrote me, I think, one evening and was like, "This is how like a week, maybe like 2 weeks, 2 weeks before," and he was like, "Do you want to go on a road trip with me?" And I was like, "Say less." Yes. And he's like, when I mean road trip, I mean plane ride to to San
I
Diego.
love, yeah, and you guys had the best time.
Yeah, we had the best time in San Diego, and I was like, sick. I really want to surf. It's been like on my bucket list to do that. And he was like, great, you can surf. I have to do some business stuff. Um, like your mom can't come. And I was like, cool. I would love to go with you. And we went and we had the best time. And Uranus entered my sun. So like when it hit my sun, there was a lot of things. Like I really felt in my skin, in my body, like I needed to flip the script. Like I was itching at the like I was like out of the routine. I can't like I have to change things up. So I felt that call to just do something radical. And so that was kind of a chance for me to do that with my dad, which was cool. And as a result, Uranus is ruled by Aquarius in modern but astrology. But I was going to say was I met three significant Aquarian people on my path, and one was a 70-year-old man who we had the most like the best conversation, and I shared what I did, and he was a maverick, used to be actual the real deal maverick. Now he's an inventor, like living the Aquarius life,
Come
really,
on.
right? Like living it Aquarius life. And he was listening to me and he was like, you sound like a change maker. And we're just like we were just getting into it. And he sometimes emails me, the 70-year-old man. Loved it. Loved, yeah, yeah. Sometimes he just emails me.
And that is like, that's your medicine. Like, that's your kind of thing.
Yeah, I love it. I was like, please, sir, like you're so cool. Like the fact that you can hear what I do and like think it's interesting. Like he's like, of course, like I don't follow the rules. And Maverick Top Gun, which is one of my favorite movies, is filmed there in San Diego. And the reason
Hmm.
I love it because I kind of consider Uranus like the Maverick planet, right? He doesn't follow the rules, and the whole premise of the movie of Top Gun isn't really about aviation. It's about like if you trust your instincts, right? They're bringing in someone who doesn't follow the rules so that they can survive. So
Hmm.
like that is if that's not a message, then I don't know what is. And so being in the place that where Top Gun was filmed, where my favorite comfort movie, while Uranus was like hitting my sun, and I was meeting all of these really innovative people, three people. One was the surf instructor who did astrocartography. We're literally on the same wavelength and just like learning from each other. And then another one was someone I met at the airport. Um,
Hmm.
and she was going to public speak at a huge event. And I was just, I had no idea who she was or whatever. But we just exchanged information in a moment, and I was like, "Whoa, this girl! Like, I love." It was one of those humbling moments where I was like, she was like, "I'm nervous." She was being honest, but I was like, don't worry. Like, just giving her my, and I look, I'm like, oh, she does this stuff all the time. Like, this is, like, right? Like, this is just her just being her. So it was really cool. I met some people that expanded me, which is what I like to call when people come on your path to show you what's possible. And I
Hmm.
felt that that really came through in a big way with those three people. And then being there with my dad in a different city, it just gave me a different. I came back and I was like, I want to bring this lightning in a bottle back home with me in a way. So yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah. That was a mouthful, but yes, it was great. So thank you, Uranus and Gemini. Look forward to you coming back to us following year. Okay, so now that we kind of touched on these big points,
Okay.
this year that we're walking into, this new year, um, what's your sense on it? Yeah, I know you've already kind of looked.
Well, I think my invitation would be to the world to take Capricorns. Like I often like really slow down for Capricorn season and like I don't have any in-person circles after December 17th and then I have one virtual circle which will be with you.
Mhm.
January 4th about the wolf moon and about like whatever magic you're bringing. I'm sure it'll be the astrology of the year or something cool. But
Yeah.
so I feel like Capricorn is just so grounded. And again, I'm sitting behind in front of a Christmas tree, very traditional. And it doesn't have to be traditional in this way, but like winter solstice fall like opens the season and then you move into the new year and like I always look for what's the first bird I see of the year and that's my messenger for the year and like so I feel like there is so much ritual as we like go through that doorway into the new year and
Mhm.
Capricorn season is like this grounded, slow, reflective, long-term focused mountain goat.
Yep.
That's what I think of, and that's gonna be my first digital download that I have. That's gonna be different, and I can't create something that I have to create all the time. I created my whole winter's worth of digital downloads one weekend as we left Scorpio season, and it's going to be a daily devotion. So each page will be like day one, the moon, like this is the moon phase, this is the astrology of the moon. Here's a information, here's a journal prompt, here's a question to ask your deck, here's something to notice in the world around you. And that's something I'm gonna do my daily devotion. I'm gonna create my own daily devotion. And that's what I really hope this winter to teach people is to how to create their own daily devotion.
Love, love.
And that's Capricorn to me. Capricorn is that very devotional, right? Slow, steady, and focused.
Hmm. Hmm. So, so, so rich, so beautiful. The permission to slow down, the permission to kind of, I think if anything, if you're going to build anything that you want it to last, it does take time. And that time is what actually Capricorn rules, which is so interesting. And like you said, like we're all in our own timelines here, and the time that you take, the time that you give yourself, the permission that you give to slow down, like all of these things play a role into our choices and the way that we lead our lives. So it's so cool to like hear this way in which you're honoring it within yourself and how you're creating it to help others. And I think that this should, if anyone's listening, this would be your permission slip to sort of just take what we're saying and see if how it applies, and the choices that you've made that you, um, like just like realizing what I think that maybe Capricorns don't give themselves enough credit for is how much like they've done already, right? There's like that's the part that maybe there's always going to be something to do, but everything that you have done, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this episode is like look at everything that we've gone through together individually, experienced like through these different shifts and timelines, and like I hope you guys walk away with like how proud you are, of everything that you've accomplished. The good, bad, the ugly, all of it is part of it, and that's where we get our wisdom from and our knowledge in terms of what we want to pivot or work towards. So like,
But like, be real.
yeah,
Like Capricorn asks us to be real because
yes,
it
true.
it smells bullshit. Capricorn, like I don't like if you're not like speaking the truth, like if you're not speaking truth, it's not gonna
Yeah,
sit well with my Capricorn moon. Like
fair.
I want truth. I want you just to speak from your heart. So I feel like when you're setting your intention for like some people are like, well, the season doesn't start until the spring. No, actually, that's the astrological new year. We look at the numerology of moving into 2026. So do that with real focus on you. I think Capricorn would really look realistically long term, like where do I want to be? And then how
Yeah.
does that really feel?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like use Capricorn season to do you, slow down. Do you reflect? What do you actually want?
Mm-hmm.
And what is this number one year for you? What spell are you casting?
Yeah. Yes. Because we're moving next year into from vision into action. These are some of the themes from, discipline meets ambition, communication, innovation, like radical ideas, more connections, community driven energy, um, grounded healing and stability. Like, um, I just reminded myself this, of I share with you, Liz, Chiron's moving into Taurus.
Hmm.
So that will be around June 19th. So yeah, we're going to be sort of grounding our healing in that stability.
Mm.
Um, and then confidence, creativity, and bold expression. So that's like Jupiter, that what we talked about, like that expansion energy is going to be moving into Leo, even though also the South Node will be there. So it's going to be really interesting. Right? We're letting
Yeah, it's
go.
like challenge accepted.
Yeah,
Number
challenge
one year, the fire
accepted.
horse. Okay, let's go.
Let's go. That's going to happen around June. So there's a lot of stuff happening around June, I would say, of next year, and April. Um, and January. Yeah, I mean every month has its own little flavor, but I would say yeah, we're going to be shifting our way that we express and the way that we connect to community, other outside of ourselves, and our individuality. Like, what does authenticity? I know that's a buzzword, but if we're dealing with these two Leo and Aquarius energies, that's their tone. If Pisces and Virgo's common ground is healing in different ways. Leo's and Aquarius is authenticity in different ways.
Well, and that
So
you can use Capricorn to be real.
yeah, true,
And
right?
then,
Those,
like, if you say everything's like shifting in June, then let's like capture the breadcrumb trail today because something's speaking to us.
yes,
So let's start leaving a trail so that future us can be really be like, okay, Jen, I see you. Look at what you did. Look at
right.
where you are and look at how
Mhm.
you got here. Because
Yeah,
that's what you say. You say you can't know where you're going unless you know where you've been.
yeah.
We're not looking to always retrospect and like we're not always looking to look backwards, but when there's these big juicy transits that you teach us, it's like, okay, I've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, yeah, because sometimes I think also like we don't celebrate ourselves enough, you know? And I think that like even though that it's funny, Capricorn, we're in that holiday season of like celebration, but it's also like celebrating like the work that we've done, you know? And maybe it hasn't been easy this year for some of us, I know. But like realize the medicine in every moment. And that's kind of what the intention is of us even just going back to those old points, is to be like, whatever we were in the moment probably was really hard. And then looking back on it, we can be like, okay, right, I made it. I did it through it. I somehow, navigated
Well, and
that.
think about it. We have the winter solstice in Capricorn season, so we walk in with this sacred moment, and then
Yeah.
we walk in 6 months later into summer in Cancer season, right?
Yeah.
And for me personally, like my son is in Capricorn and my daughter is in Cancer. So I think it's really funny how like the we can we can just really enjoy this upcoming moon cycle or season by like coming into winter solstice with that sacred moment of reflection and intention, getting outside, appreciating life. And then when we come through the portal of the going into a number 1 year, what have I learned? What am I leaving? What am I moving towards? And then we're going to come into the wolf moon together. And that's all community, right? Wolf moon is really beautiful. And then we're going to plant a really juicy seed later in January. So that's what's really cool about this moon cycle of Capricorn season is the Capricorn moon isn't until almost the end of the cycle. And you're seeing a lot of later degrees lately, right?
Hmm.
Which is like we're the lesson, like we're planting a big lesson of integration, so we're coming out of this 9 year with a seed of Capricorn that we're waiting to plant until the end of the month.
When the moon, you know what's so beautiful? I love everything you just said. And then something came through, and I have to ask you this because um, Liz also refers to grandmother moon, but um, do you call it father son or,
So grandfather sun, father sky, mother earth.
okay.
Yeah.
So because you were talking about how much, so every family has their own imprint and journey, right? And so you have a lot of like, I was going to say father mother energy in your family lineage. And I just love that because regardless that you kind of identify, and father and mother doesn't have to be like gender specific. It's just a different energy that kind of comes with that title or label,
It's a
right?
different type of love.
Yeah,
It's a different type of lesson.
a different type of love, different type of lesson. And I love already that you use the language of father, mother in describing, Mother Earth, grandmother moon, which is funny because I love that you say grandmother moon, and this just came through now. Cancer, by the way, is ruled by the moon,
Hmm.
and Cancer is like the sign that's most connected to grandmother energy, and so that like really like solidifies that like validation for me. And I was like, yeah, that really makes sense, grandmother moon, because like she's that wisdom, that like cancery energy, and then like yeah, you said father sky,
Well, and
so.
imagine the grandmother like as a crone, right? Like so in
Mm,
every phase she's in, she's accepted. She understands life as birth and death. Like that Ecclesiastes piece, that is the energy of the grandmother or the moon because she understands that like life begins and life ends and it's always perfect, right?
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And
Woo.
is this the longest podcast of our life?
No, no, you
I
know
love
what?
it.
You and me, I love this. Absolutely not. You know who else? Um, the astrology guy and I, that is similar 2 hour chit chat that I like bring it in. But for this one, I'm gonna let it go because I think this one it needs to let it riff because I think that it's hard to edit things that are so just natural, you know,
Well,
like
let's be real, Jen. Our invitation to anyone who's made it this far, that means they're a real G. Like that means they're really interested in changing their life or getting curious about their life. But like I feel like a lot of the people who follow me follow you through my circles and like they're looking for this information and they're going to be
yeah,
writing in their journals. And I don't think this is again something you have to digest in the first 2 hours, although you could.
yeah,
It's quite interesting. We're like, dynamic. But it could be something you digest over the month of or sorry, the season of Capricorn. And you can join us January 4th for
yes,
the Wolf Moon episode, which
yes,
I can't wait for because I am showing up this, and Capricorn's the only first season.
yeah,
I'm showing up once a month online in a Zoom. And anyone who's a part of that Zoom will get that daily devotion. And I'm
beautiful.
not looking to create this fad where you think you have to do something every day. I'm trying to create something that they can come back to when, oh, like something happened today, and then they look in their book, they're like, of course it did. And that will maybe pique their curiosity to keep doing it.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm trying to create. And so I'm really excited that it kind of worked out the way it did, that I'll be starting it with you.
yes. I am really excited about this too. And you took the words out of my mouth because I was like, Liz, share with everyone what's going on with you, how they can like, because obviously I'm going to put in the show notes, how to find Liz, how to join her moon circles. If you haven't seen them, look up Witchy Ways. She throws she's got the Libra, so she knows how to aesthetically create a really beautiful space. Not just, like energetically, but also like literally with the details. I always find it's just so beautiful. The farmhouse, or even if you're on the land out in the woods, like it's just so epic. Um, so yes, we'll definitely. So if anyone's listening and wants to participate, which I highly recommend, I'll give you some ways in which you can connect. But other than that, I think you guys should check us out on June 4th, and we'll leave it with that. We'll leave it at
Well,
that.
everything I'm doing this winter is entering the cave, and so the reason I'm going online is because some women I've identified like to, once they get home and it's dark out, they like to stay at home, and maybe they hibernate like a bear, but like I hibernate like a beaver. Like I'm continuing to care for
Right.
my den and build. Like I don't like to just go and stay at home.
Yeah.
So this winter I'm gonna have two spaces. One will always be every new moon and full moon, closest Wednesday. And the other one will be once a month virtually so that I can give you what you need to be within your own cave.
Oh, bless.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Love, 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 love. Choose your adventure, folks. Choose your adventure.
That's it. Okay, Jen, I love you so much.
Okay, I love you, Liz. This is the best.
And goodbye, followers. You're the best too.
Yes. Okay. So, to help you make the most of your month, I've created a personal PDF with key dates, the season you are in, where your connections can shine, and where aligned action matters the most. You can find that in the show notes.